Hi, my name is Ryan, and in this video we are going to go over the concept of external grading in PrairieLearn. Um, in this video we are going to cover what external grading is, the types of external grading, and go over a couple of examples of setting up external grading. Here is a high-level overview of the documentation. In this video we're going to be covering number 16, external grading. So what is external grading in PrairieLearn? External grading in PrairieLearn is the idea of creating custom grading scripts in environments that you set up, in which the the coding questions that students are asked to write can be auto-graded on those environments, in those environments. So the types of external grading environments. The first one is the production server environment. This is a running PrairieLearn instance configured to run on a server that you set up, and then it is publicly available for students to access if you give them access. So that is the first type. The second type is in a local environment where you have a PrairieLearn instance running on your computer's local host. So first we're going to go over how to set up a external grading in a on a production server. Setting up external grading for the production server is pretty simple. All you have to do is first navigate and open your questions info.json file. Second, set the grading method variable to external. And then third, add the external grading options. Here is a sample of the bare minimum that you need to set up. Here, the grading method is defaulted to internal, so you need to set it to external for external grading to happen. You have to set the enabled to true. The image here is the Docker image that should be used for the question. This can be any Docker image that is understood by the Docker pull command. In the example that we're going to show is a question using C and graded with C, so that's why we use this PrairieLearn grader C. This would mainly be used for which language you want to grade with, or which language you are using that you need to grade with, such as C, C++, Python, etc. And then the final thing that you must have is the entry point. The entry point is a script that will run in that container when it starts. It has to be an absolute path to a executable. So this could be a shell script, Python script, or any other compiled executable. So in this example, it is a Python script. So let's go to the example on the production server. So here we are on the productions server, as you can see up in the URL. We have a problem here that asks the student to write code. They'll find the maximum number of consecutive ones. So here the code needs to be auto-graded. So if we go over to the info.json for this file, you can see that we have added in the grading method and then the grading options. Here it's set to the PrairieLearn grader C image, Docker image, and then the entry point will be a test.py file. There's also this extra timeout variable that is set for this problem, and this timeout is just the number of seconds, which is 100 here, that the grading job has to finish. So if it takes over 100 seconds for it to be graded, it will return back as failed. And for the entry point, we have a test, and then this test.py file, which just contains information to compile the student's code, add a main.c file that will contain the test, and then actually running the student's code and the expected test output. So if we go back to the problem and insert some code that is correct and click save and grade, it will spit out that it has passed and say that the student messed up. So if I change this from a 16 to a 15, you'll see it will fail, and it will show which test passed and which test failed. So now we will go back to the slides and talk about local external grading. So using external grading locally takes a little more setup. You can use Windows, WSL, Mac, or Linux. This command here, make directory $home. And you can make this whatever you want, but PL-AG jobs is what we're going to use. Then you have to change your current working directory to where your PrairieLearn/course directory is. And then based on the OS that you're using, there will be a command that you can either copy paste in to your terminal, or you may have to change just a little bit to meet your username. And then you just have to do the same steps that you did in the production server, setting up the info.json file. So now we will go over starting the external grading locally. So the first thing I'm going to show you is what happens if you just try to use this standard PrairieLearn command to launch your instance. So here I have the command entered to my course on my local machine. So I execute this command, and it will open it on the localhost 3000. So if I go here, load from disk, go to the class, go to the same question that I showed you on the production server, and I enter the same code that was given a correct answer on the production. If you do save and grade here, you're going to get this error and it won't work. So what you want to do is end the Docker connection on that port and go through the steps to set up external grading on your local host. So first, we want to make the directory that is going to store the jobs. My project is on my local Windows file system, and so you have to use Windows PowerShell. So in Windows PowerShell, you just got to have this command, and it will make the job there, or the directory there. And as you can see, here's the folder, the directory that it created. It's just an empty directory to store the jobs for grading. Next, you want to change your directory to your course directory. So mine is STMA 3-46, and then you want to make sure you're in the course part of the PrairieLearn directory. And then you, depending on your OS, you will need to enter a command. So if you are using Windows or WSL, you will want to enter, if you're using Windows on the local local Windows file system, you will want to use this command, and that's what I'm going to show you what to use. If you're using WSL, you'll use this command, and if you're using Mac or Linux, this command here. The biggest difference is for Windows, you most likely have to change the username that you input into the command. So if we go open this back up and input the command, as you see, I changed my username to match what is on my computer, and it goes to the directory that we just made. And then if you click enter on that command, it should start your PrairieLearn instance on localhost 3000 again. So if we go back, refresh, load from disk again, open up the course, and now if we go to the same question again, enter the same code that we just didn't work on our local host, do a save and grade. Wait for the grading to finish for this question. It tends to take a little bit longer on a local machine for grading versus if you are running on a production server, because if you have it set up on a production server, PrairieLearn sends the job to an AWS instance for faster grading. Whereas here it's running on my local machine. So here you can see that after some time, the grading was completed successfully, and all the past tasks as shown on the production server. And if we go to the info.json, it is set up the same as I showed you before. So that is it for this video covering external grading. In the next video, you will learn some of the auto grading options that you can set up and use to grade students' code.